Well, happy Memorial Day 2024. Thank you, veterans, for making it possible. For today's video, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm not going to just go down to the lower D near Maupin. I'm actually going to head towards Madras. And I'm going to go and fish the middle of Deschutes, an area called Lower Bridge Access. It's kind of around Madras, Terrebonne area. The road you actually turn onto is called Lower Bridge Road. It's not a big secret, but we definitely never fished that section. I talked to a couple of buddies that are local and have fished it, kind of got some pointers and ideas what the water is like, so I can just make sure and take the proper gear with me that will hopefully make me successful. I know the river is very different compared to the Deschutes that I'm used to in Maupin, so I'm looking forward to that. Somewhere new is always fun, and even a crummy day on the river is better than a good day in a cubicle. So I just got on the road, so I'm going to start heading towards Madras and get this drive out of the way. I'll get some shots because it is a pretty drive to put into the video for everyone. Kind of go along on the drive with me. It's about an hour drive from Maupin. Taking my old beater truck down. We'll see if she can make it down and back. I'm joking, she will. But I gotta drive it to find all the kinks before I do any big trips with it. So, all right, well, we'll see you here later on. Pretty cool shot of Maupin on the drive out of Maupin going to Madras. It's one of my favorite shots. Here we go. That is essentially darn near the entire town in that shot. Alright, gonna take a little detour off Highway 97 just before you drop down into Cow Canyon, heading towards Madras from Maupin. If you see this yellow sign and that kind of dirt road, that's the old Highway 97, and you can actually drive on a section of it. So I'm gonna, just for fun, do a little detour and cruise down the old highway. It only goes for a couple miles and then it kicks you out to a little spot where you can get back onto the current highway. But it's just kind of a fun little detour that you can do if you're ever out this way and you want to get off the highway for a couple miles and cruise on an old road. Made the turn off on the Lower Bridge Road there in Terrebonne off 97. It'll be a right-hand turn coming from Maupin. The road is called Lower Bridge Market Road. Just get onto that, keep going down the road, and eventually you will cross the Deschutes. So that's where the access point is, and then there's a couple other public areas next to that bridge that we're going to scope out and hopefully fish today. Hopefully find some nice red bands. Alright, so we made it to the lower access point on the middle Deschutes. I ran down and peeked at the water, and that has spurred me to make some pretty drastic changes to my typical setup. It's a much different river than the lower Deschutes near Maupin. It's small, it's kind of wide and flat, very shallow compared to the lower Deschutes in Maupin. So what I'm going to change is I'm going to go to one of these clear floats because the water is much clearer here. and sometimes these big black floats can kind of, in the clear water, scare the fish off. So I'm going to change that, and I'm going to go to a lighter float where it's not going to need as much counterweight. That will make casting a little bit more difficult, but as small as it is here, the river, and as long as my rod is, I'm really not going to need to be able to cast in the long distance. If I can cast the rod length, I'm going to be pretty much good for down there. So I'm going to go ahead and get this switched over to the different float. I wish I had brought a little bit lighter float. This is still a 4.8 gram. I fish a 6 on the lower Deschutes, so I'll take a couple grams off. I wish I had, I have these in lighter versions. But oh well, I'll make do, and then I'll show you the setup. This is my, I'll show you right now. So that is kind of my typical Deschutes. Then I spread that out for water depth, and then so we're going to go to that, and we're going to take probably about half this weight off, and go from there. And I'm also going to go from fishing 2 nymphs to only going to be fishing 1. It's just too shallow here to, so I'll probably split the difference, you know, maybe go a little bit longer on that leader. Maybe not though, it's pretty shallow. That might be it. So pretty much the setup will just be from that top stone up, and I'll cut this lower guy off, just because it is such a different river than what I'm accustomed to on the lower D. I'm looking forward to it, to adapting the pin over to it. This is definitely not an ideal area for Centerpin, but I'm going to see if I can't make adjustments and find some success. So I'm going to get geared up, and then we'll get on the river. Well, here's a little tip for tick season. This is what I like to do as a tick prevention, is I take some repellent and I like to squirt down my waders. So before I put my waders on, I just hang them like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and hose them down with the tick repellent. And there's 2 reasons for it. Is it seems to work pretty good, the repellent, but also I put it on my waders or my clothes because I don't like putting that stuff on my skin. It is some kind of gnarly chemical after all, and every chemical company will tell you that it's safe until it's not. So I try to keep as little of it on my skin as possible. So that's why I always hose down my waders and my shirt that I'm wearing for that day, and then I can take it off and wash it. So just a little tip of what I do. Well, and we're off on a new section of water. Pretty excited about it. I'm just going to go right from the parking lot. There's a trail to the left of me that is an easement on private property. And I'm going to take that back, but I figured since most float fishermen, or at least I do, work the river downstream, I'm just going to go in right here and start working the water immediately downstream, and then just take that trail back. But as you can see, here's the Middle D, very different from the water that I typically fish near Moppin. So it's going to be a challenge with the Centerpin, but I'm looking forward to see if I can't get a couple fish out. At least get a couple on the pin in this style of water. It's going to be a challenge. It's very slow and calm, not very deep. So we'll see what we can do, and see if we can't get a fish on. And here's what my setup looks like now. I'm going to start always start big, peacock stone, and then about 15 inches a leader to my float. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check and see if I have enough counterbalance on the float. I just kind of eyeballed it up at the truck. It's high floating a little bit, but I'm going to take it, I think, just because the less shot I can keep off of it, the better. And it's a pretty dainty float, so it's not going to take much of a take for a fish to pull it under. Really shallow though. This little rapid. This little Middle Deschutes section reminds me of the little creeks I used to fish as a kid up around the Monmouth Independence area, namely the Lucky Mute, the upper Lucky Mute, where you can just kind of walk down the center of it and fish as you go. This is a good chance for me to get a fish here. This is the first real oxygenated area of river that I've come across. So I'm hoping there's some fish sitting in there. Just the water is very clear, so I'm being cautious not to just walk right up on it and spook them. So I'm going to try to cast back from a distance a little bit. I've only seen 1 or 2 fish jump so far, and no action on the stonefly, so I've gone to something a little smaller to see if I can't convince them into a strike. We'll see how I do here. Alright, got the first hookup of the day. At least I didn't get skunked. I was afraid I was going to get skunked. Let's see if we can't get him upriver here. Oh yeah, he's coming in. Oh, beautiful red side. Very healthy looking. Alright, we didn't get skunked. There he is. Very pretty color. In you go. So there is fish in here after all. Man, I was getting suspect. So he was right out in front of me where there's the fast current to the left, fast current to the right, and then that rock and that slow steam behind that rock is where he was sitting. Let's see if we can't find another one. Lost one. Well, bummer. I just had one come off. I've had 3 hookups in this little rapid here. Just gonna check and make sure my fly didn't come off. Nope, it's still on there. It's a barbless little guy. Not much there. There's what he looks like, what I'm using. I feel I can get one more out of this little spot. I moved up a little bit, but I just keep working this, all the slow slots around this little rapid, and let it go down as far as I can see it, which isn't too far because it's a clear float with just a little bit of orange on it, so it's definitely hard to see. Try to get out next to that rock and let it float on down. Love to get another take on camera. Oh, she's really getting hard to see. It's down there about 50 foot. Oh, that might have been one, or it might have been a grass off the bottom. So I'm gonna come in from this direction and kind of give it a different look. Gonna make sure I'm not all snagged up. Now we're looking good. Just kind of lob it over there. Let the current pick it up. And let her work on down. Oh! Way too hard of a hook set. What I'm having to do is I'm having to trot, and I snarled it up. I'm having to trot the line because I'm working with such shallow water conditions. Because normally a dead drift is like this. You're going down like that and your bait's below it. When you trot it, you're purposely putting a little drag on it with your finger to kick this up and get it off the bottom. So I'm having to do that a lot just because of how shallow the depth is. I've found success here though, which is pretty exciting. I'm gonna keep fishing it. I'm gonna try to get one a hookup on video, but let's give it a shot. Why not? Not much of a cast, just kind of flipping it out there. right in there is where I've been getting action. Well, it doesn't look like they didn't care for it on that one. I'm gonna keep it, the drift's kind of short just because it's so hard to see. I missed one down there just because I thought the float was behind a ripple. And no, it was a fish tank. So I really got to make sure and keep it close so I can see it. No hero drifts today. So I've gotten 3 hookups out of this one spot, landed one. Boy, it's so hard to do, to be light enough on the hook set. I'm not giving it much of a flick and I keep pulling it out of the water. All right, let's get to the other side here. Trot that a little bit to get it up off the bottom. So getting action here kind of tells me 2 things. I was not getting any action in kind of the flat, calm, still stuff. I saw one fish rise in that flat, but getting action here is telling me they're in the oxygenated cooler water. So that's what we have here. The faster water is always cooler than slower water. So they're there, and then there's more oxygen because of all the riffling around. So that's going to tell me where to spend some time at and where to not spend some time at, so I don't waste my fishing time while I'm here. And this is the first time I've been here. I probably should have brought a dry fly rod and did like a dry dropper or something because it is so shallow. But I really wanted to pin it. I like trying the pin in unconventional waters. Out bottom. I think it's time to move on. I'm going to work the tail of this pretty good too. I've worked the headwater pretty good. Go down and see if there's any fish sitting down kind of lower in this. Being lazy, getting out of the fast current. But I do want to hit that slow seam right there. All right, I think it's time to move. I've worked this headwater pretty good. Time to move on down lower. Well, I'm heading back to the truck on the trail. I got up to the boundary of where the easement ends. And the last little spot I've been noticing several fish striking at my float. So I think I'm gonna double time it back to the truck, get my dry fly rod out, and see if I can't get a couple on dry fly. The last little hole I was fishing at, there was a ton of little fish playing with the nymph, but no more, a lot more action, no more hookups. So the pin here has been marginally successful. We'll see if the dry fly rod does any better. I'm gonna hustle back and before the heat of the day hits, but that might help the dry fly. I'm not much of a dry fly guy, but I know when fish are striking your float, go get your dry fly rod. So that's what I'm gonna do. Well, I got switched up, grabbed my dry fly rod, Heading back down to that area where the fish were striking the float. It's a real kind of a boulder garden. I'm gonna make my way back down there. It's about a 5-minute walk and see if we can't get some topwater dry fly action. It would be pretty fun, so we'll see. Well, I just caught a dandy on a dry fly. Didn't get it on camera. My darn GoPro had a glitch or something, I don't know, where I couldn't get where I lost connection and it froze. So I'm gonna try to get another one on here. It was a nice brown trout. I got a picture of it with my cell phone, at least. But no video action. Let's see if I can't raise another one here and get it on camera. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm working the dry fly back upriver towards the truck. Pretty much working the same run of water twice, once with the Centerpin and once with the dry fly. There's pretty good dry fly action, a lot of little dinks. I haven't gotten a good sized fish yet, other than that brown trout that I took a picture with my cell phone because I had a camera issue. But it's pretty fun. I'm just kind of gradually working my way up, trying not to make too much noise. The wading here is, every rock is loose and covered with slime, so at least there's not the crazy lower D current. It's pretty gentle, so I don't have to worry about falling in at the wrong time and drowning like you do on the lower D. So let's see if I can't coax another good sized fish out of here with the dry fly. I'm gonna keep working my way upriver towards the car. I'm gonna dry here. Let's see what we got. Oh, it's a nice red band. All right, there he is. Get a brown chubby. Oh, come on, dude. Come on, dude. There we are. These fish seem to be like immune to the hold upside down. They still wiggle. Maybe that's just a lower Deschutes thing. Maybe you hold them upside down, they chill out for a minute. I don't know. Well, all right, I got one on a dry fly, kind of on camera. Didn't get the take on it, but trying to conserve battery out here. All right, I'm gonna work this spot a little bit more and see if I can't get another one. Maybe I'll leave the camera going for a little while and see if I can't get a take on camera. Don't critique my fly fishing. I'm not a fly fisher. Well, I guess I am when they're attacking the float on a float run. Oh, I knew that was going to happen sooner than later. Oh, it had to be the one way up top. Of course. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Get my line and stuff out of there. Check my leader, my tippet. Everything looks all right. All right. Just need to step out a little more so I'm not casting towards the bank. Or back casting towards the bank, rather. Oh man. Oh, let's try to get one on camera here. right into the trough there. Nada. It says no fish for you as I stumble around. Try to hit that far close seam. I'm gonna wait out here just a little bit. Oh, I thought that was gonna produce a fish. Man, that looked good. Right down there again, nothing. It's because I have the camera on and I'm trying to get a take on camera. Not again. Alright, enough camera time. Well, that's a wrap. The lower bridge access is in the books. That was my first time there. It's kind of near Terrebonne, in the middle of the Deschutes. The middle of the Deschutes is a much, much different river than what I'm accustomed to on the lower Deschutes near Maupin. It's hard to believe that it's even the same river. They're pretty much complete opposites. But I found success on the pin and on dry fly. Caught 3 or 4 both each on either discipline. I kind of just fished down from the lower bridge access point with the pin and then fished back up towards the truck with the dry fly working upstream. So I worked the same water twice, which I don't typically do that, but I did it this time, and I got fish going down and I got fish coming up. So there you go. It just goes to show once water's been walked through or fished through once, it doesn't mean you can't get something. And if you're going to be coming in Maupin to go fishing, make sure to swing by the hardware store, Maupin Country Store and Hardware. Check out our fishing equipment. We've got pretty much the basics of fly, conventional, Centerpin floats, all that kind of stuff is available. And it's also available on our eBay store. The link's in the video description. In Oregon and you want to get some floats or whatever. So that will be there for you as well. And as always, thanks for watching. It's pretty cool seeing the channel grow, inch by inch. I've been struggling here lately finding time to go out, go somewhere new, make it a little more interesting than just going down and fishing the same Deschutes kind of where I live. Some of you might like that, but kind of seeing the water where I fishing. And how I do it, I do find pretty steady success on the Deschutes. So, and you know, like always, get on the river somewhere and get fishing.